well, we have our interview coming up with Karu, and let me just intro this way. All of us in the United States, I hope, understand the need for quality processes and quality management within our organizations. Most companies have some sort of quality management system in place. Unfortunately, very often, particularly in large companies, you have a situation where each department handles quality in its own way, and very often that data isn't shared with other departments. This kind of creates quality silos where each department may be doing a perfectly fine job with their quality management and using their quality data, but the data isn't necessarily being shared. What is missing in many companies is a vision on how to assemble quality tools into a comprehensive, integrated enterprise quality management system that enables companies to globalize their quality systems in order to meet better meet regulatory scrutiny, protect the lives of their customers, let's say if we're talking pharmaceutical or FDA,
sure.
and create efficiencies and provide measurable and substantial savings, which applies to pretty much any kind of company. So today's guest is Karu. He is an Industry Solutions Director with Sparta Systems, and he is also an industry expert on quality management, as well as a subject matter expert on FDA regulations. So KR, are you with us?
I am.
All right.
Thank you, Dirk.
Thanks, KR. And KR, just really briefly, just give us a little bit about what your background is and what you do with Sparta.
Okay. In Sparta Systems, I am the general manager of our practice to the pharmaceutical industry. What we do is we have quality management software and solutions for multiple industries, and I'm particularly responsible for the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay. How has the globalization of corporations, would you say, affected the quality function? I mean, I talked a little bit about quality silos. I would assume that that is one of the big issues that you have when you go with a global company.
Absolutely. I was very interested in listening to the way you described it, and you were right on the money. One thing that you said most companies have a quality system in place. I would pluralize that. They have multiple quality systems in place, and you said that they manage quality issues departmentally. Add on to that the third dimension of globalization with suppliers, with multiple sites in places. It's almost impossible for these companies to take care of quality problems when they're manufacturing products across multiple companies and across multiple manufacturing sites, and they really have to have a different vision for this.
Now, you obviously, as we said in the intro, your background and your major expertise is within FDA-regulated industries, which includes pharmaceutical. So when you have that kind of situation where you have your quality in silos and globally as well, what kind of risks is this causing for companies? I mean, from an FDA point of view, or from an FDA-regulated industry point of view, what kind of problems and issues might they face that would really enhance the type of risk that they're facing?
Well, what tends to happen is they solve problems, they have quality issues, they investigate them, they determine root cause, and they take corrective actions and start to maybe go through a change management process. But again, it's siloed. It's around where the problem happened, and they solve the problem there. They don't extend it and really say, where else are we manufacturing this, or where else are we following this? A real interesting example happened a few years ago at a major biotech company that had an extremely successful product, and they began to manufacture that product both in the United States and Europe. And over the years, as part of their quality system, they had separate change management systems. So they were managing changes to the product locally as opposed to globally. And a number of years later, the FDA came in, inspected both plants, and said, you have changed this product separately for so long, you're not licensed to sell it anywhere anymore because we don't know which of these two what we're considering now different products is the one we originally licensed you for. And the end result of that was literally hundreds of millions of dollars in losses.
Now, obviously, that's a good example then from, let's say, a legal point of view, because the FDA can come in and have them pull a product from the shelf. What about from just a general, let's say, a general manufacturing point of view? A consumer products company, or even an industrial products company, but they're not regulated, let's say. What kind of issues might they have with quality silos?
Well, they have issues that are compounded. When you are in consumer products, people have choices. So if your products, if you get a reputation of not making quality products, there's usually something else on the shelf next to that product. And if I'm reading in the newspaper about manufacturing problems at a company, or the quality of it goes down, word of mouth, the internet, everything, bad news travels very quickly these days. And delivering a product with poor quality or something that doesn't deliver what it's supposed to, news of that gets out there very quickly, and it goes to the heart of the revenues of the company, their reputation, and those are things that are not very simple to recover from. It takes years and years and years for a company with known quality issues to recover.
Karu, you touched upon I want to jump in here for a moment, you touched upon the idea of silos, and certain companies and certain industries handle that differently and are more prone to that. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how culture, and maybe not only the culture of the company, but the culture of maybe the nation in which these companies are based, and we're talking about global supply chain, how culture plays into how they deal with these issues, how they break out their processes, and how the silos form from company to company?
That's a really interesting subject. I could spend hours talking about that. What we're seeing with companies globalizing, if you have a highly complex product, say a piece of electronics, there are probably components in it that were manufactured on pretty much every continent with the exception of Antarctica, and that might even be questionable. And when you're bringing those together, the manufacture of the product goes from place to place to place to place. And, the old adage, a chain is as strong as its weakest link, really comes into play. So for a company, if my name is on the product that I'm selling, consumers don't care that it might have been a sub-manufacturer for you in the Far East, or a component manufacturer in Africa, or someone doing winding in a plant in Kentucky. They don't care about that. It's the end product that's out there. So having control over your quality becomes much more critical, especially in these days of companies having it's really extended enterprises. People do not manufacture products within their four walls anymore. Pretty much in every industry, they go through suppliers and multiple suppliers to deliver end product to market.
Hey, KR, we've kind of set up what the problem is here, and obviously I think anybody with reasonable mental facilities would understand that quality in silos is really an issue. But we do have a webinar coming up on this next week, in which we're going to be talking about just kind of what is the solution to this. If that's the problem, what is the solution? Just in a nutshell, can you tell us what you believe the solution is, and probably what we're going to be touching on the webinar next week?
Yeah, well, that's actually the good news, because the solution usually exists within the companies. It's just usually a local or a regional or a departmental solution. And it really is management of these companies taking a different view of quality. That if we discover an issue and the root cause of the issue is a piece of manufacturing equipment, instead of just fixing it in one place, we need to take a look at where else we use that piece of equipment and and create corrective actions and preventive actions at all the sites that use that, or if it's a raw material that we're using or a component that's being used that we find is faulty. What else do we use that in? Let's look across the board and not only solve the problem at hand that we found, but look in a preventive way to keep that from happening with additional products or additional things that might be using those same components or equipment for manufacturing.
Okay. Well, KR, we're going to be talking about that more in the webinar next week, but thank you for joining us today and giving us kind of a brief overview of kind of the issue, quality silos, and what do we do about them? How do we share this data across our entire organization and make good use of the data in order to produce better products? So,
Great.
KR, thanks for joining us.
Hey, gentlemen, thank you, and thank you to your audience for listening.
Okay.
Bye now.
Thanks, KR. See ya. Yeah, well, that's going to be Tuesday, as Dirk indicated, Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern.
And there's a link below the player.
There's a
there.
link right below the player right here where you can sign up for that. Dirk and KR will be hosting that. Carol will be presenting and Dirk will be moderating. So really good stuff. That's a good webinar. We certainly encourage you to check that one out.
Sure.
And again, you can sign up right below the player page right here and go out to their sign up page and check it out on Tuesday morning again, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Great. All right. Thanks, Dirk. Thanks, Kara. Thanks, Sparta. All right.